Shwmae, bore da, prynhawn da, croeso nôl I Learn Welsh Pembrokeshire and Pure West Radio, giving you the lowdown on what we're learning in our Sylfaen course with Learn Cymraeg Pembrokeshire. I'm Tom, and I am currently on Uned 8, Unit 8 of the Sylfaen course, where I'm condensing 2 years into one. So Sylfaen I a Sylfaen Dau in 1 year, in 30 weeks. And this week, I'm going to start off this video by reminding you that you've only got, I think it's 2 more opportunities now to get your hands on a limited edition shwmae mug, courtesy of Learn Cymraeg Pembrokeshire at Pure West Radio. All you've got to do is add us on WhatsApp 01437 764455. And once you've done that, you can then send us a voice note with our Welsh phrase of the week. The Pure West Radio presenters are playing out for Sedyn Air yr Wythnos, the gold star of the week, and you get to play for your own gold star and your very own limited edition mug. I picked them up the other day. Do you think I've got one with me? No, I do not. So keep your eyes peeled on our social media at Pure West Radio to find more on them. And this week, turning our attention back to the learning, to the dysgu Cymraeg, we've been looking at arddodiaid, prepositions, arddodiaid, and this is spread over 2 units, Uned 8 a Uned 9, and I think it's fair to say that even the tutors weren't overly enamoured with the fact that it needs to be taught, and we taught it in one big punch, because if you think about, if you're an English speaker like me, and you've gone through English schooling like I have, grammar was never really particularly my strong point. So now learning grammar in a Welsh sense hits my brain just ever so slightly. So Uned 8, the unit that we've done last week, is I, ar and at. And next week, if I go forward, we're going to be learning am, wrth and a. So you've got that to look forward to. However, I, ar and at. Now I and ar we have gone over before. I is used a lot because of course it means to. Ar is on, and at is something that we've kind of come across, but it's something that's also brand new. So I, as we know, is I'm going to go somewhere. So dwi'n mynd i'r shop. I'm going to go to the shop. Dwi'n mynd i'r shop. So that means to. The problem with I, with it being a preposition, is that it conjugates. It changes depending on the pronoun that comes after it. And this is why we need to learn these structures as we are now, because we need to know how to form these sentences properly. And to form a sentence properly, you need to say, I'm going to something to whoever you're referring to. So there's 2 E's in there. One thing that's confused me though, is that there's not always a soft mutation after the second E. It's just something that you learn. It's just something that you know. So the example that we've got in our book here is gofyn I, so to ask something. So we've learnt this in Mynediad. Dwi'n mynd I ofyn question. I'm going to ask a question. Dwi'n mynd I ofyn question. Great. But what if I'm going to ask a question to someone else? Well, this is where I need to put the E in the correct place. So dwi'n mynd I ofyn I Dafydd. I'm going to ask David. But because we've got the 2 E's in there, the literal translation is I'm going to, dwi'n mynd I, ofyn, ask, I Dafydd. I'm going to ask to David. So that's the bit you've got to get into your head when you're learning this. And then going to ask him, dwi'n mynd I ofyn iddo fe. So that I has become iddo, and then there's iddi, and there's iti, I ni, I chi, and iddyn nhw. So they are the different conjugations that you can get with I. So that's something to be mindful of, and that carries on then with rhaid I fi roi anrheg I Sian. I'm going to give to Sian. I'm going to give a present to Sian. So you've got to get that second to in there. I'm going to something to the person that you're referring to. So rhaid I fi roi anrheg I ti. I'm going to give a present to you. Which makes a bit more sense actually. I don't know why they didn't start with that one. But never mind. So that was I in a nutshell, and you do cover this in the Mynediad, these iddo fe's and iddi hi's very, very quickly. And when we're learning about ailments, this is when we talk about ar. So when we're ill, you might find that you've got, what's the best? So if it's something physically that's on you, it's like a broken arm, that would be, oh gosh, I've forgotten the logic myself. But if it's a cold or something, it's on you. So a cold, arna I, I have a cold on me. So it's not something that's physically in you. If it's a broken bone or something, it's something that's in you. But if it's something that's about you, like a pen tossed, it's gyda fi, that's the one. So I've got a bad arm, I've got pen tossed gyda fi, I've got a bad head with me. Whereas if it's a cold, it's I've got a cold on me. So with me and on me, and you might get there in the end. So arna, so we've learnt about that in Mynediad as well. We've got our arna I, our arna ti, arno fe, arni hi, ar an, if it's a person, arno ni, arnochi, and arnin hu. So it does follow a very similar conjugation pattern as I as well. So ivi, arna I, iti, arna ti, iddo fe, arno fe, iddi hi, arni hi, ar an, which is just I, David, so that stays the same. And then arnoni is ini, arnochi, ichi, and arnin hu is idin hu. So it does follow a nice little pattern there for you to be aware of. And similar to the e's, you've just got to add in that extra little one, although you would with mynd I because you're going to do something. So adrychwch arni hi, that's a command because it's got uch at the end. So adrychwch arni hi, look at here. Adrychwch arni hi, look at here. Whereas if it was him, it would be adrychwch arno fe. So you need to know how to make these sentences by conjugating these prepositions, these arddodiaid. So that was ar. So dwi'n dwlu ar rugby. I love this because it kind of translates to, so that's I have a real fondness for rugby. I love rugby. Dwi'n dwlu ar rugby. Dwi'n dwlu ar rugby is I have love on rugby if you come of it from an English point of view. So you've got to be really careful there as to what you're saying. So dwi'n dwlu ar bel-droed. We have a love for football. We have a love on football. Football on love. And then we have at, which is based on like essentially what you're going to do with someone. So E's and R's are just things that are happening. These are things that you're going to do, whereas when you're referring to a person, this is when you throw in the at. So anfon at is to send to. So if you ask the question, pwy anfonodd e-bost, who sent an email? If you're saying that John sent Chris an email, you'd say anfonodd John e-bost at Chris. Not Chris, which is a version of to. So John sent an email to Chris. My head wants to go Anfonodd John e-bost Chris. That is incorrect. Because we're referring to a person, it is at. So anfonodd John e-bost at Chris is really important distinction. If you're referring to someone, it is at. And again, it follows that very similar structure with I and R in that you've got at I, atati, ato ve, ati hi, antoni, atochi, atin hu. So the pattern is very, very good. The difficulty with this unit is knowing when you need to use it. Because once you know that, you're fine. So that's where it does become a little bit more difficult. And then just take that one step further. So to write to, so wyt ti wedi ysgrifennu at Ellen. Have you written to Ellen? Recognise that, at Ellen. Wyt ti wedi ysgrifennu at Ellen. Have you written to Ellen, at Ellen? And then ysgrifennais I ati hi ddoe. So ysgrifennais, going into past tense, with the anais I ati hi. And then dwi'n ysgrifennu ati hi nawr. I'm going to write to her now. And dwi'n mynd I ysgrifennu ati hi yfory. I'm going to write to her tomorrow. So we've got ati hi, ati hi, ati hi, to show that we're going to write to her tomorrow. If we were just saying I'm going to write to Ellen, it would just be dwi'n ysgrifennu at Ellen nawr. Yes, it would stick hold there. So yeah, it's just knowing that, and then to really throw the cat amongst the pigeons, we started off this video with me talking about mynd, and we're going somewhere, mindy, and then if we're going to a person or we're going to a thing within a location, so I might go to building 250 on the high street to go to the dentist. If I'm referring to the dentist, I say at, not e. So the question, when are you going to the dentist? You would think it would be pryd wyt ti'n mynd I y dentydd. No, it's at. Pryd wyt ti'n mynd at a dentydd. Pryd wyt ti'n mynd at a doctor. When are you going at the doctor? Not E, which is what my mynediad and slowly moulding Sylvain brain wants to go to. It is at, because it's something that, this is my logic, and BV seemed to agree with me, is that because it's something that's happening within the building, within the place, it becomes at. So that's what I'm sticking with. So at a optegydd, when you're going to the optician. If you were going to say kind of the high street, it would be pryd wyt ti'n mynd i'r stryd Hulffordd, Halfway Street, whatever. And then we've got another at. This one makes more sense because it's going back to people, so it's give him my regards. Cofia fi ato fe. Cofia fi ato fe. So remember him to me. So again, it's not E, it's ato again, because it's referring to a person. It's referring to someone. I suppose going back to mynd at, it's because we're referring to the dentist, not the building, the dentist. We're actually referring to like Dr. Jones. We're referring to doctor, at a doctor. When you're going to see the doctor, it's implying that you're seeing a person. And it's the same here with giving them my regards. So if I'm giving my regards, it would be cofia fi ati hi. So remember me to her, which is lovely. Oh, cofia fi ati hi. Lovely. And then to look forward to, edrych ymlaen at. So wyt ti'n edrych ymlaen at y briodas? Are you looking forward to the wedding? Now this is where it does not make much sense, because now we're looking at and it really is not people. Like I said earlier with mynd at, it's now just things that are happening within a building. So that's where my logic comes back in. And then, so wyt ti'n edrych ymlaen at a party. We also now need to know whether the words we're using are masculine or feminine, which came into the last unit as well. We need to really start brushing up on these. And the best way is just exposure to the language and hearing what people say, because briodas is feminine. So it would be if I'm, party is masculine. So ydw dwi'n edrych ymlaen ato fe. I'm looking forward to it, but it's masculine. So that's what we've got to look forward to there. And then we had to go through different scenarios and a sgwrs at the end as well. So we're going to be back next week looking at am, wrth and a, so we can really confuse ourselves and try and pick which sentences go with which arddodiaid, prepositions. Gwela i chi wythnos nesa. Hwyl fawr!